The Forgotten Realms are home to many a strange and fearsome creature. Here, we aim to discuss them all. Go not blindly into the unknown, adventurer. Join us in browsing the bestiary.
Welcome back to Browsing the Bestiary.
Welcome back to Browsing the Bestiary.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Uh,
I appreciate
Browsing the Bestiary. Yeah, genau.
I appreciate your patronage, Jade. Thank you. I don't think the listeners have any reason to know this, but I trained to be an opera singer in college. Like, now I'm doing a D&D
Yeah, he told
podcast.
me that, and I was like, "Holy crap,
Yeah.
that's insane."
Yes, I have many skills, most of them useless.
No, you helped make this podcast.
That's
I
true.
couldn't do this.
That's true. Which,
So-
speaking of, what is this podcast, Jade?
So, Browsing the Bestiary is a podcast that takes an in-depth look at all those creatures that put the monster in Monster Manual,
Mm-hmm.
the beast in Bestiary,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons. By the way, who are you?
Well, I am Lore Master Andy, and who are you?
I'm Dungeon Mistress Jayde.
Yes.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. Good to be back. Yes. Yes, to all of our listeners out there, we thought we'd do something a little bit different to spice up the beginning of this episode, because one, we just wanted to. Two, Jade, something amazing happened with our listenership that I need you to tell the listeners about because it's very important.
Yeah, so actually, one of our good friends and dear listeners,
Mhm.
Zach,
Zach.
actually actually pointed out a fact that we missed in our Centaur episode.
We did.
So, in the Centaur episode where we were talking about the sea centaur, we had mentioned that the sea centaur was perhaps formed, Greek style, via Triton and a hippocampus. Which, if you guys don't remember, a hippocampus in D&D is actually literally a sea horse, like a
Yeah.
horse you ride on in the sea
Yeah.
with the tail.
Yes.
And we had mentioned, like, why is this thing called the hippocampus? Isn't that just a part of the brain? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. We had a whole bit about it, just off the cuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
and then Zach actually pointed out that the hippocampus is a part of the temporal lobe. And when it's cut in half, the cross section actually looks like a seahorse profile.
Yes.
And the word itself actually means water horse.
Yes.
So the D&D writers were actually being real big brained when they came up with the hippocampus, and I was really impressed.
They were being literal big brained because they were talking about a big
Yeah.
part of the brain.
They were using their hippocampus
Yes.
to make the hippocampus.
That's right. Yeah, that's the part of the brain that like does memory encoding. So if you have an injury, or I guess a surgery to your hippocampus, you cannot code in short-term or long-term memory anymore, depending on how badly it's damaged or what part of it's damaged. So that's fun, unless it happens to you, in which case I'm so sorry. But you won't remember my apology tomorrow. So I'm sorry again tomorrow.
Sorry twice.
Yeah, it's basically like if you've ever seen 50 First Dates, it's Drew Barrymore's character, who, she wakes up every day thinking it's the same day.
Wouldn't it be nice
If we were... Yeah. Do you like peanut butter cups with your eggs?
But yeah, and it deals with memory, and so I was curious of whether or not the hippocampus, the creature, had something to do with memory. Maybe it like put in false memories. I don't know. We'll find out whenever we get to that episode.
Yes.
But I just wanted to mention that a big thank you to Zach, and Zach, you get inspiration.
Yes. Feel free.
What you do with it? Yeah, what you do with it? We don't know, but you have it.
I was just saying,
so use it wisely.
Yeah, the next time you fail a critical saving throw or ability check out in the real world, you get to make that roll with advantage. Oh man!
And
yes.
if anyone else finds information we missed or anything we got wrong in previous episodes, feel free to comment and cite your sources.
Cite your sources.
And if we find you correct, you may be mentioned in the next episode, and you may get inspiration as well.
Yes, which shameless plug. Remember, we are on social media. We are on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Not on Twitter, and we're not going there.
No,
we're not going
thank
to talk
you.
about that further, but we're not going there. Before too long, we will be on YouTube. And of course, there is our Patreon, which you can subscribe to for free if you want to get in there and get some goodies and comments. And if you like what we're doing, feel free to subscribe for more than free. You can be a little guy. You can be not a wizard. You can be other things too. But we just appreciate you being here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
beautiful. Anyways, speaking of memories, Jayde, what on earth are we talking about in this part 2? What is this the part 2 of?
Oh, this is part 2 of the Mimic, the most iconic monster in D&D, besides the Beholder and besides the dragon. It's just one of those staples. And last time we talked about the origin of the Mimic, we talked about editions 1 through 3,
Yep.
and now we're coming back to you with 4th edition.
Bam! The craziest of all the editions, usually.
This one, again, it just doesn't. Let's get into it. So, 4th edition, once again, just doesn't disappoint in its very unique take on a classic creature.
Yes, unique
And
is doing a heavy lifting here. Yes.
well, it is a interesting mix of it's a good mix of mimics and I would say doppelgangers as well, because in 4th edition, doppelgangers is actually a sort of race of beings,
Okay.
rather than shapeshifters in themselves. Like it's more of a quality of their race. So what 4th edition decided to do instead was to kind of mix mimics and doppelgangers together into just, aberrant horrors beyond your imagination.
Ooh, very, very Lovecraftian.
Definitely so. It's or even like not even Lovecraftian, but like Twilight Zone for sure.
Interesting. Yes, a different flavor of horror, a tangier horror, if you will. It lingers on the palate. This horror.
Delicious.
Delicious. Nom 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 nom.
As the mimic would say.
Yes, as the mimic would say, nom 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 nom, but in undercommon.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So 4th edition, of course, we have our multiple stat blocks. We have the object mimic, we have the impersonator mimic, and we have the mimic spawn.
Ooh, okay.
So the object mimic is our typical mimic. It transforms into treasure in order to lure in greedy adventurers in for it to eat. Object mimics are categorized as medium, aberrant, magical beasts. It's a lot of words strung together.
Yes, it is.
And object mimics have an AC of 23 and 71 HP.
Okay.
They have dark vision. They have tremor sense, up to 5. So that means it can sense creatures in range that has contact with the ground. So, if you're walking, it'll feel those vibrations within 5 squares.
Which
And it also has... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's important that tremor sense also detects invisible creatures. So
yes.
if you're trying to sneak up on this mimic when you're invisible, not in 4th edition, you're not.
Nope.
Nope.
It's really hard to sneak up on a lot of things, to be honest, in 4th edition.
Yes, true. Although, to be fair, at higher levels, rogues especially get, just stupid bonuses to their stealth.
That's true.
Dear God. The bushes moved? No, they didn't. There are no bushes. Oh, you're dead now. What even happened? I don't know, but you're still dead.
Yeah, I imagine in 4th edition numbers would be plus 30 to their sneak.
You joke, but you're not.
No, I know.
Especially when you get to tier 4, it's insane.
I kind of want to know what the highest bonus to a rogue is in 4th edition now.
Yes. Old head listeners, please tell us.
Yeah,
What?
please please let us know.
Yes, let us know in the comments.
Get in the comments.
In the comments.
um yeah, so they have tremor sense and they also have resistance 5 to acid damage.
Mm-hmm.
The object mimic is unaligned in this version, but it can still speak common and deep speech, which in fourth edition is a language usually used for aberrations who live in the far realm. And far realm is basically just a realm of Lovecraftian horrors. Like that's
Yeah,
all it is.
it's dark, it's cold, there are tentacles. You get the gist.
So many
So
tentacles.
many, and not in a fun way.
Mm. Nope. So aberrations that live in the far realm or in the Underdark,
Mm-hmm.
which usually creatures in the Underdark come from far realm, so it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. They just hang out
Yeah.
down there because it's the most like space, and the sun hurts them, thankfully, but not always.
Thankfully. Yeah, I will say I do have some qualms with this version of the mimic. First of all, the object mimic loses its adhesive abilities, so it can no longer stick to other creatures,
Hmm.
which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But it does make up for this by giving it a similar attack, which we'll talk about that here in a bit.
Okay.
But the second thing that I have a qualm with is that 4E definitely nerfs the mimic's shape-shifting abilities.
Lame.
Yeah, now when object mimics shapeshift, they have to choose between two forms, either an ooze form or an object form. And remember this shapeshift, I think it stays throughout all the editions. It takes a whole round to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it
Mm-hmm.
is a little annoying. But the ooze form is basically the mimic's getaway disguise. It becomes an amorphous blob that can squeeze into really small spaces to escape. And because 4E is such a video game, that even the squeeze move has penalties like, -5 to attack rolls, and it gives attacking creatures advantage on combat rolls, which the object mimic can actually ignore.
All
So
right. Interesting.
yeah, yeah, I don't know why you would have advantage on a creature that is like a blob squeezing through a small space, but oh well, I guess.
Yeah, like it makes sense if you're a creature that is too small for a space, like trying to shimmy your way through, right? You can't
Mhm.
react as fast. Maybe your equipment or your just like overall like bulk is limiting your movement. But for like a blob, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't, but it doesn't matter for the mimic because it just ignores that part. So
Oh well, yeah. Actually, fuck you. I'm fine. I'm a mimic.
actually, nuh-uh.
Yeah, yeah. No.
And then in its object form, it allows the object mimic to assume the shape of any object, so long as that object is the same size as the mimic.
Okay.
So yeah, and in the object form, the mimic gets resist 10 to all damage. So any damage done to it, subtract 10.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty nice, pretty nice. But while the mimic is in object form, it is immobilized and cannot attack.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
How does that work, especially for an ambush predator? Fourth
Yeah,
edition. I'm confused.
right. You see what my problem is because it's
Yeah.
like it's gonna take a whole round to get out of that. And by that time, who knows how many abilities the PCs have used
Yeah.
against it.
Well,
I
not
don't
to
know.
mention, like, a staple now, like, really codified in third edition is like the Mimic uses its surprise round. Like,
Yes.
if you can't attack, how do you use a surprise round? I don't. Fourth edition. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Fourth edition, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. I like the spirit. Execution?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, so a creature has to succeed a DC 24 perception check in order to notice the mimic when it's in object form. So I guess that does help. Um, and if the creature fails, it is surprised. So I guess it does get a surprise round.
Okay.
And in which when the object mimic attacks, it deals an extra 2d6 worth of damage if the creature fails its perception check
Oh,
and is
okay. All right.
surprised.
Well,
So I
all
guess
right.
yeah. Yeah, I guess we jumped the gun a little bit, but
Yeah. Failure check, get a damage writer against you on the next attack. All right. All right.
yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And the object mimic gets quite a few different attacks, which include, your basic slam attack, which
Mm-hmm.
does 2d8 plus 7, and it gets an attack called Ravening Maw, which does 2d8 plus 11 damage
Okay.
and slows the creature until it saves.
Ooh, okay. All right. You got a
Yeah.
little bite, slows you down, rips your tendons. Okay.
Owie.
Owie, I'm slow now. Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Mhm. And then on top of that, we have the attack Crushing Tendrils, which, as I mentioned before, this is the replacement to the adhesive that we mentioned before. So if the attack hits, it does 1d8 plus 4 damage, and it grabs the target.
Okay.
So the captured creature takes a -5 penalty to their escape roll, and if they do not escape, then they receive 15 acid damage per
Ooh.
round.
Ooh.
hmm and so I think that makes up for, not having that adhesive and having this grab attack instead, which honestly makes a lot more sense for the mimic because it's always shown with these tendrils and you're like, what do the tendrils do besides
Mm-hmm.
smack people? Grab someone over there, bring it to your mouth, be a froghemoth.
Yeah, I mean, like, and while I agree that does kind of make up for it, I just feel like it's doing the same thing but with more steps. Like,
That's fair.
yeah,
That's fair.
it's like why not
Yeah.
just add on, like in the past, right? Makes a certain attack, they get adhesed to it, and as long as they're adhesed to it, you get that, extra damage until it breaks
Yeah.
free. That's I don't know. That would be too streamlined for 4th edition, though. I keep forgetting 4th edition is about being extra. So, you know what? It's in line with 4th edition. So I'll allow it.
Well, we'll let 4th edition be extra this time, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
W-
liked it 4th edition.
Yeah.
I think it was fun to have that acid damage, though it's not as unique as like you just sticking to a treasure chest.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's giving more ooze than it is like mimic.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do I detect an essence of black pudding? Mmm.
Well, you know what you will detect is an essence of doppelganger because because next we have the impersonator mimic.
Ah, yes, yes,
Um
yes. Tell us more.
mhm. So we definitely think that this is just horrifying. And
Yeah.
after listening to the impersonator mimic's description paragraph, dear listeners, I'm sure you will too. So it goes, quote, a young girl begs for bread at the door, and an old lady's act of kindness is her last. Then, in the form of an old lady, an impersonator mimic lures a passing farmhand inside, begging for help moving a table. Next, as the farmhand, it accompanies a team of woodcutters. For the mimic, each persona it assumes means another victim's unmarked grave. End quote.
Okay, so I feel like the designers just like they watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers and they said, "You know what? We need this in
Oh
4th
yeah.
edition." Like, yeah, that is man. Like, and it's a great idea. I don't know if it's really quintessential mimic, but it's very
Yeah.
very pod people.
Yeah. I think it fits for like a certain variant of mimic.
Mhm.
Like we talked about with the house hunters.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's definitely giving something else that's
Yeah.
not mimic.
You're like, "This is the people hunter?" Mm.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair, and I think it was a way for the creators to get around the fact that they completely overhauled the doppelgangers.
yeah. Yeah, they're like,
I'm
"Shit, we
like,
need to
these are
shoehorn
just
this."
doppelgangers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
right.
shoehorn this in somewhere. The fans are gonna be pissed. Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
I did feel like it should have been a creature in of itself, but
Hmm.
I think it also fits with the mimic in in this edition. Anywhere else, I think, yeah, this would be out of hand.
Mm.
But getting let's get more into the impersonator mimic
Yes,
because
yes.
according to the lore in fourth edition, impersonator mimics are highly skilled imitators due to their ability to absorb the memories and languages of the victim they eat. Little bit of hippocampus, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So they therefore have the ability to take over the deceased humanoid's life until it finds the next victim. So that little paragraph before, it's a kid at first, goes over to the old lady, etc., etc.
Which, I mean, it starts as a kid, it becomes many things, but ultimately, it's just a squid.
Go go away. Go away. What? No.
Hey, Zach, if you're
All right.
listening, that one's for you.
Zach and Nano,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, Zach and Nano, you're a kid, you're a squid. You're a kid, you're a squid. Anyways.
All right. Also, according to the lore, impersonator mimics are essentially fully grown mimics. So,
Oh.
yeah, so the more it kills, the more it procreates by splitting off into either object mimics or mimic spawn. So, these smaller mimics will eventually grow up to become impersonator mimics, and then the cycle continues. Yeah. So the attacks that the impersonator mimic has are suited for these like stalking and ambush tactics,
Mm.
right? So
Okay.
the impersonator mimic, yeah. So first of all, it has a slam attack
Of
that does
course.
3d8 plus 11 damage.
Oh,
It,
okay. All right.
yeah, this is I presume this is to kind of attack an unsuspecting creature, like
Mm-hmm.
just knock them back into the house so that they can, eat them.
I
Um,
mean, like, if it's just preying on commoners, that's just gonna like turn into a heap of blood and bones. Like, Jesus Christ.
easier to eat, right? It's like
Yeah.
soup.
Yeah. Just bam. Good soup.
Good soup. Good soup
Delicious.
for my family.
Soup for my family. It's the nutrients it needs for its body.
So it uses its slam attack, and then it also has a move called Forcible Conversation, which allows the impersonator mimic to give its victim the dominated condition.
Oh, damn.
Uh, yeah, which in 4E means that the victim cannot take actions, and the dominator tells them what actions they can take.
And I assume the
Yeah.
action is get in my belly.
Oh no. You're just pulling all these references
I am.
out.
I am.
Nice.
What? I almost did the stop. You violated the law. I was like, no, that's too much. That's too much. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, save it for later.
Yeah. Our friend group right now is like, stop, stop. They're already dead.
Yeah, so they'll be able to tell the victim what they can do, and then finally the mimic has a move called Call to Harvest. Very
Ooh.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Which basically slides the creature 4 squares and gives the mimic advantage on its attack, which in 4E is a +2 to attack rolls, instead of rolling 2d20s and taking the higher one.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
literally get in my belly.
Yeah.
It'll tell
That's
it to stop and slide it into the mouth.
yes. Just that's it. I eat you.
Yep.
Damn.
Mm,
Damn.
yeah, so I think the moves are really good for this creature. Again, not really mimic life, but definitely a well-rounded creature, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. It's great. It's not a mimic, but it's great. Yeah.
Right. And on top of that, what makes it really good is that in its new humanoid form, which, as we mentioned before, absorbs the languages and memories of the creature. As the imposter, the mimic also has +4 to bluff checks when attempting to persuade others.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and when it's not impersonating humanoids, again, it's either in its object or ooze form. But this time, in its object form, the DC for perception is 31
Whoo!
instead of 24. Yeah,
Damn. All
yeah,
right.
pretty high. Yeah, so that's the impersonator mimic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a mimic, but it's impersonating.
Not it's doing something.
Whoo! Yeah, it's doing something.
And then finally we have the mimic spawn. And we mainly saved the mimic spawn for last because the mimic spawn and the impersonator mimics tend to work in tandem together.
Mm.
They kind of have a symbiotic relationship almost.
Interesting.
So the mimic spawn, though it doesn't explicitly say, they seem to be more like baby mimics to the impersonator mimic, though it's not a very paternal
Mm-hmm.
role,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're just kind of using each other. So the mimic spawn sees their impersonator mimic creators as their masters and will obey every command, even sacrificing themselves at their master's command.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Interesting.
But in return, the mimic spawn also gets to share the form of the impersonator mimic, almost like they're kind of like little polyps that can attach and remove themselves from the main being.
Ew.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's definitely symbiotic. The impersonator mimic uses it, but also the mimic spawn, and it gets a buff as well when it's with the main impersonator mimic. We'll get to that. So the mimic spawn has an AC of 30,
Okay,
right?
that's pretty good.
But yeah, but it only has 1 HP.
Ah, okay. I see. I
Mhm.
see. It's the trying to cut a bee in half with a sword defense. Okay.
Well, on top of that too, just like our bandits in the previous episode, missed attacks have no effect on mimic spawn, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
4E, if you miss an attack, sometimes there's going to be residual damage
Yeah,
anyway.
splash damage, carryover. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But the mimic spawn gets to ignore that. So you have to hit it directly in order for you to kill it.
Ah.
Yeah. And the mimic spawn also does not take damage when it uses the ability One with Master. I don't like these names, but this ability allows the mimic spawn to move into the impersonator mimic space,
Okay.
and while they're in the same space, the mimic spawn quote moves with the impersonator mimic and cannot attack, but it cannot be targeted or take damage either.
Okay.
End quote. Mhm. So up to 4 mimic spawn can do this at once.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm just
Yeah.
imagining like that one episode of SpongeBob. When he's asking if Sandy can reproduce by budding, right? He's like, "Can you reproduce by budding? Do you? Do you? Do you?" Right? And like the little SpongeBobs come out of his pores, but it's like that in reverse. It'd be like if the little SpongeBobs were running around and this sucked into SpongeBob, which like much less funny, much more horrifying. I'm kind of down with it. I'm kind of down with it.
Yeah, yeah. If this was its own creature, I think it would be really cool.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But going back to the mimic spawn, the one downside for the mimic spawn to reattach itself to the impersonator mimic during battle is that when the impersonator mimic uses the absorb action,
Okay.
it allows the impersonator mimic to reduce one mimic spawn that is near it or in its space to 0 HP, and therefore gives it an extra action.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
new to me. Apparently, in 4th edition, you can eat a baby to get a buff. Very interesting system, 4th edition.
Honestly, not a surprise with how many mechanics and just bullshittery that
Yo,
4E.
absolutely, absolutely. It's like, fuck, we need a new mechanic. We tried eating babies? No. Fuck it, put it in. What is this thing, an ooze? It's a mimic, sir. It's basically an ooze. Fuck it.
What if an ooze and a doppelganger had a baby?
Had a baby, and then they ate it.
Ate it. So yeah, not fun stuff in here if you're a player. you know.
Yeah,
Um,
if you're the player. Jesus.
a- as much as I like the mimic impersonator, I feel like, again, we've been saying it should be its own thing rather than a part of the mimic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the regular mimic is just so iconic and unique that throwing in this extra bit, I have to say it's just too much, too much. Mhm.
Yeah, which I mean, I kind of hinted at it before, but I'm pretty sure that the 5e designers actually had the same thought that we did, where it's like, this thing's not a mimic. What the hell is this thing?
Mm.
And they used basically this template of the impersonator mimic to create something called the Oblex, which is unique to
Oh
5e.
yeah.
Yeah. It's basically a psychic ooze. It's an ooze that has psychic powers, mind flare shit.
Mm-hmm.
Brains, memories. Well, don't worry about it, right? It basically does all the things that the impersonator mimic does, but with some changes. We'll talk about the Oblex in its own episode. But if you're not familiar with it, it's basically the impersonator mimic, but more specialized and honestly cooler, for being real.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, the Oblex is pretty scary looking and
Ooh.
just
Yeah, that
yeah.
one is full. It's like, oh, what if Lovecraft, but horror, but also.
Isn't it just like a gelatinous cube but like red and bloody and gross, or am I thinking of something else?
No, that's the right one, but it's not a cube. It's like a mass, like a
Right.
bubbling,
Yeah.
yeah, oozy
Wait,
mass.
is that the thing that you were gonna throw at us in Strahd that at that one point, but you changed it?
Maybe I
No,
can.
no, it was supposed to be a shambling mound, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. That was supposed to be a shambling mound, and I threw a flesh mound at you.
Yeah.
Which shout out to Mandy Mod on Reddit for that one and that stat block. I appreciate you. You'll probably never listen to this, but if you do, I appreciate you.
That one was it was so good. That was
Yeah,
a good fight.
so
Yeah.
good, so good. Yeah, at some point, we'll have to either on stream or in its own podcast or video talk about that fight, but not right now.
Not right now. We gotta get back to mimics.
We have more fourth edition to cover. You thought we were done? Silly. This is 4e. Come on.
And we're not even done with the impersonator mimic
Oh
because
God.
yep, the mimic object and the impersonator mimic actually make a small appearance in a supplement called Into the Unknown: The Dungeon Survival Handbook. This was published in 2012,
Okay.
and the book is an all-around guide to surviving dungeons,
Mm.
specifically in the Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
And it includes some important skills that are needed, new subclasses, famous dungeons in the realm, and of course, the typical monsters that live in the dungeons.
Oh yeah, I know. I like that. Sounds like a good supplement so far.
Yeah. The lore states that mimics often live in caves and dungeons, taking on forms of elaborate architecture or enticing treasures that eventually devolve into a quote writhing mass of ooze, teeth, and tendrils end
Mm.
quote.
Mm. Horrifying, but very on brand. I like it. Well done.
Great,
Well done.
great description.
Yeah, great job. No notes.
Mm. However, experienced adventurers have begun to kind of wise up and are getting a little more cautious about getting too close to items that look a little too nice in a dungeon.
Yeah, get out that
Uh,
10-foot pole. Start poking.
Therefore, mimics have had to change their hunting tactics, and now instead of impersonating objects, they are impersonating humanoids. Very scary. Yep. So now adventurers have to be careful not only in dungeons but also on the surface world as well because people that they know may actually be quote a toothy mass of hungry slime end quote.
Jayde, I
Yeah.
rest my body snatcher's case.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Guilty. They're guilty for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Your friend oozily points and shrieks at you. Just but oozy. Yeah, exactly.
Yep, yep, exactly. If
Mm-hmm,
if
mm-hmm.
if the previous lore didn't establish it. This one, they're like, let's go full body snatchers.
Yes, yes. Get in the pod, Shinji.
Mhm. So that's the little mention in that supplement. And though we're going to move on to this other article, and it's not exactly a part of fourth edition supplements, but it is an article written in that era by the one and only Ed Greenwood,
Oh,
of
hell
course.
yeah. Hell yeah. What kind of horchata-esque writing do we get this time, Jade?
Stop. They don't know about that yet. Or they do,
Or
and
they
then
do.
you just triggered something.
Core memory,
So
memory unlocked.
so, back in the day, wizards.com had a few article series in which prominent Dungeons and Dragons writers would write small articles to expand on the lore of all the D&D worlds, right? Ed Greenwood, of course, is the father of the Forgotten Realms.
Mm-hmm.
So his series was a weekly feature called Forging the Forgotten Realms.
Mm-hmm.
And Greenwood would answer questions or, simply stack on his already massive contribution to the Forgotten Realms lore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just add more and more. He just loves talking about this stuff.
I mean, it's
Like
all
he's
very
still
cool.
doing yeah, he's still on YouTube and talking about just niche like families in Neverwinter.
Oh,
Like
hell yeah.
nothing you would ever think of. He's just like, yeah, here's a whole backstory for these families.
He's like, these
So
ones are all impersonator mimics. Nobody knows.
so yeah, go check out his YouTube channel. He's just throwing out all the lore. So in an article titled Holther's Mimics, published in March 2014, Greenwood regales readers about the origins of the book mimic.
Ooh, okay.
Hmm. So, apparently, in the year 1146 DR, which in Forgotten Realms world, DR stands for the time that humans and the elves made peace in the Dale
Mm-hmm.
lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are other calendars in the Forgotten Realms, but this one is kind of the standard throughout all of the main books. So we're just going to go with that. So in the year 1146 DR, there was a priest of Agma, and Agma is the god of knowledge, also known as the binder of what is known,
Mm-hmm.
or the binder, as
Mm.
they're sometimes called. And there's a priest named Amonlus Holther.
Okay.
So, Holther one day found two small mimics in a dried up well behind the monastery. Halder prayed to Agma on what to do with these creatures because it seemed like a waste to destroy them.
Mm.
And though no one knows if or what Agma said to Holther,
Mm-hmm.
um, but the priest decided to experiment on these creatures.
Oh no.
Yeah, so he trained them with both treats and pain, and got them to obey him. And he eventually started breeding them in order to get more desirable traits.
Seems bad.
I like the book mimics, so I guess it all worked out. But he ultimately he ultimately created the book mimic, and this mimic would wrap itself around a book and completely protect it,
Mm.
only opening up for those who had the right password or the right rune or key, and would attack those who did not have those things.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then during Holther's lifetime and after his death, these quote book guardians
Mm.
were only known by the highest ranking priest of Agma. Um, that way, the priests could keep their most precious books protected in other ways than just using enchantments.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So people going in, expecting certain enchantments are not expecting a book
Yeah.
mimic.
Nobody ever expects the book mimic.
Exactly, exactly. But eventually, the secret of the book mimic, as well as some of the mimics themselves, managed to escape out of the libraries of Agma,
Ooh.
and would often find their ways to other libraries and just instinctively protect the books there from any intruders.
Oh God.
hmm a couple of book mimics even managed to make their way into the heavily guarded Candlekeep Library.
That's insane. How?
Yeah, yeah. No one really knows. Some people think that the mimics kind of just hopped on to someone who's bringing books there,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
just there's no way to tell. But
Yeah.
um, they were said to be there for at least 40 years before even being discovered by a monk named Telestel Rorbiter, according to his journal.
Well, I hope in that journal entry he killed those mimics.
No, he left them there. In his
Oh.
journal, he actually tried to tell some of the higher ups at Candlekeep
Mm-hmm.
about these
Mm-hmm.
mimics, and they didn't do anything about it because they're like, well, they're not doing anything bad to the books. They're protecting them, so might
That
as well.
sounds that sounds about right for Candlekeep. Like this is the same
um,
place where there's a disembodied, ghostly set of dragon jaws that just meander through the aisles and sometimes chomp people, but not
eh.
enough to be a problem. So
They're like, it's fascinating. Might as well just leave it there.
it's like, well, I mean, this dragon used to guard the place. So like, what are we gonna do? Excise its ghost? We're not gonna exercise its ghost. Just leave it.
Rude.
Oh, it killed one patient. Well, it was only one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they
Shh,
didn't even
it's
bring
fine.
good books anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's fine.
yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, isn't it you in order to like even get into the library, you have to bring knowledge that they don't even have at the
Yeah.
library?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
hard to get into
Which is
Candlekeep.
really hard to do. Yeah, yeah. So, there's also other rumors of book mimics evolving, either by magical means or by necessity.
Okay.
Some book mimics have evolved to protect other magical items,
Okay.
such as becoming sheaths for swords, or even becoming prosthetic limbs for those who have lost their limbs.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God.
I think that's really cool. I think, oh my gosh, could you imagine being a PC with like a mimic prosthetic arm?
Bro.
That'd be so cool.
Okay, but that's just the plot to Parasite the anime. So like, while cool,
Fair.
the video game anime accusations cannot be defeated.
They influence each other. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
um, and then other mimics evolved magically by wrapping themselves around enchanted books, and therefore they became affected by the magic within. So some of these are enchanted and can also bite you. So
Oh.
be
Oh,
wary.
jeez.
Of course, Elminster has something to say in this article,
Of
and he
course.
warns he warns that not all book guardians are book mimics, explaining that some cruel wizards have bound and trapped quote rivals, apprentices, or foes into the shape of book mimics. Yeah. I don't know how he knows this information, but either way, he tells us to be wary because to make matters concerning shape-shifting creatures, you know, it just makes them even more confusing.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so not all book mimics are actually what they seem to be. So,
Ah,
just be careful about trying to kill a book mimic. It might be a person. Who knows?
horrific. That thing where if you hesitate for a second, it'll kill you. No, you need to hesitate.
Yeah, yeah. Bad advice, Elminster. Truly.
Yes, yes,
Bad advice.
yes. I thought you had an amulet of missiles. What are you doing?
It is it is an amulet
Of
missiles.
missiles, yeah. Well,
But that's fourth edition. A lot of crazy stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Um, lots of shenanigans on the behalf of fourth edition. But
Oh, 100%.
fifth edition's gonna bring it. It's gonna make it right, Andy? Right?
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So mimics first appear in our handy dandy 2014 Monster Manual in 5th edition.
hmm
Stats wise, mimics have an armor class of 12, 98 plus 18 HP, or 58 on average, and a movement speed of 15 feet. This is really kind of boomeranging back to more of like the 3rd edition style mimic in terms of stats, right? Which makes sense. 5th edition is a little less video gamey, a lot more streamlined. Now, they are deceptively strong because they have a strength score of 17.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they also have a +5 to their stealth, which is a lot in 5th edition, and
That makes
immunities to acid damage and the prone condition.
Mm.
Mimics have dark vision out to 60 feet and a passive perception of 11, which actually not that good. Uh,
No, it's pretty standard passive perception.
yeah, pretty standard. Now, and of course, this makes sense given the challenge rating that this creature has. Mimics have the shape changer ability, which lets them use an action to polymorph into an object or back into their true form, which is basically an amorphous blob with teeth and eyes. We're keeping consistent with previous editions, right? Where it takes a whole round to do this. An action takes 6 seconds, which is a round. So nothing groundbreaking there. Mimics are described as being able to alter their outward texture to resemble stone, wood, and other basic materials, which makes them feel convincing when examined more closely by creatures that are curious as to why a random chest or table is in the center of a room, right? So we're going back to this idea that mimics are, camouflage and ambush predators. Which, speaking of, when they are in their altered form, mimics are almost indistinguishable from a normal object, which mechanically translates into their false appearance trait. They often wait for unsuspecting prey to touch them before attacking, which enables them to ensnare them with the natural adhesive that they can secrete from any part of their body.
Okay. So we're back to sweat and glue now. All right.
Yep.
Good to get back to basics.
Exactly. Yes, the mimics are glistening, and it is with glue. So yes, with this, they once again have the adhesive trait, which lets the mimic adhere to anything that it touches, but only when they are in object form, right? And this is, of course, a change from the 4th edition back to what I would consider sanity, where the object form, they just look a certain way, they can still do stuff, right? They're not immobilized.
Yeah.
Now, any huge or smaller creature is then grappled by the mimic, which is subject to this adhesive trait, if they fail a DC 13 escape check. And this creature has disadvantage on checks to escape, right? You're thinking to yourself, oh, a DC 13? That's not that high? Well, you have disadvantage. Get glued, idiot.
Get stuck.
Yeah, get stuck. Now, to make matters even worse for their prey, mimics also have the grappler trait, which gives the mimic advantage on attacks made against a creature that they are grappling. Okay? So
back to grabbing and smacking.
Exactly, grabbing and smacking. Now, in kind of a horrifying twist, or perhaps a horrifying return, when a mimic attacks something, it reveals its many eyes, toothy maw, and sprouts pseudopods, which, as we talked about before, are basically nub-ended tentacles that they use to smack shit. Now, thankfully, in 5th edition, they only get 1 attack per turn. They can make either a pseudopod attack, which has a +5 to hit, deals 1d8 +3 bludgeoning damage, and subjects the target to its adhesive trait, or they use their bite, which has a +5 to hit, and deals 1d8 +3 piercing damage, and 1d8 acid damage, because I assume its spit is very caustic, because,
Man, I mean, 1 attack, but even still, that damage is insane, especially if you put that against a low-level party.
Yes, which, as I said, we look into, the Mimic is only a CR2 creature. So,
Yeah.
it's not great for your low-level kids and squids. Be careful around there. The lore passage goes on to state that mimics are solitary hunters, but will sometimes share territory with other creatures. Most mimics only have the intelligence of a predatory animal, but it is said that some evolve the ability to carry on conversations in common or undercommon, which this is a throwback to previous editions. I don't know. I kind of don't like the idea that, this is only a trait of more quote-unquote evolved or advanced mimics or alpha mimics, right? When before this was kind of just a standard trait, but it's 5th edition, we're trying to make this easy and accessible, so we're going to water down some things. Now, these alpha mimics might be able to be bribed with food or information to let creatures safely travel through their domain. You know, this passage really leaves a lot of this up to the DM's discretion. I would say, from lore master to DMs, have your mimics be more intelligent, because this allows for some very funny role play in the middle of a combat where the mimic is getting its ass beat.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It
know,
also just gives players the option to take the diplomatic route instead of the attacking route, and I love when there's always an opportunity to do that when you're DMing, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, 100%. You don't want to accidentally turn your happy-go-lucky players into murder hobos. One,
Yeah.
they'll do that by themselves. Two, if you get a party that does not want to be murder hobos, you need to fucking lean into that shit.
Right. Lean into the role play.
Yes, yes, and reward them for it. Now, speaking of role-playing, but not for
Oh
the
no.
players, we see an interesting take on mimics in the supplement Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which was published in 2020, in which the writers of the book, they seem to be giving a big nod to second edition's House Hunters. Now, House Hunters don't survive, past third edition, but we instead get a new variant group of mimics, which are called mimic colonies.
Oh no.
And they are described as being able to create things much larger and with more variety than what a lone mimic can do by themselves, stating, quote, "A mimic colony can work together to form buildings, bridges, crystal formations, cliff faces, statues, and nearly anything it desires. Entire villages appearing out of nowhere might just be composed of mimics." End quote. Which, that is a direct callback to the House Hunter, if I have ever heard one.
But just even more diabolical because of all the different things. Like a cliff face?
Yeah.
A cliff face. Can you imagine like being, I don't know, like pushed back onto the edge of a cliff by a
Mm-hmm.
crazy mimic, only to discover the cliff itself is mimics.
Yes, it's mimics all the way down. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Terrifying.
crazy.
Terrifying.
I love the house hunters, and they just took it to a whole nother level, and it's beautiful. Truly.
100%. And, kind of playing on, this idea. Well, it's like, well, the mimic colony is different. It's not just a house hunter.
Mhm.
Unlike the house hunters, the mimic colony is a little more willing to bargain when threatened. Now, any mimic within 10 miles of the colony can speak telepathically with other creatures that are within 120 feet of it, right? So this kind of bypasses any language barrier that the mimic colony might have with any would-be intruders or assailants that it feels a little threatened by. Now, the mimics in the colony can speak common and undercommon, but the DM can also switch out these languages for any other two languages at their discretion, right? If for some reason you want your mimic colony to speak Elvish or Primordial, go off, kings and queens. You can do it. Now, if the mimic colony feels as though it is being threatened by a force that it can't overpower, they will usually buy off the enemies with information, ill-gotten treasure, or sometimes their own young, which is a new stat block that we get for 5th edition called the Juvenile Mimic. So yeah, that's another thing that the writers borrowed from the House Hunters lore, right? Which is this existence of young. Now, unlike House Hunter young, which are quite formidable creatures in their own right, juvenile mimics are categorized as tiny monstrosities. They have an AC of 11 and an average HP of 7. So luckily, much easier to handle if you're a PC. Juvenile mimics still have the false appearance trait in their object form, and unlike regular mimics, they have the ability to spider climb.
Mhm. Which it said spider climb, and it just kind of clicks something in my head. I'm like, wait, the regular mimics don't have spider climb? They
Yeah,
can't. they can't climb the walls or anything. Like that just baffled me. I'm like, I did not even notice that was missing from the mimic until reading the stat block. It was crazy.
Yeah, you'd think that like mimics would just have that, but apparently not in 5th edition. Which, speaking of abilities that they do have, the colony, or I'm sorry, the juvenile mimic does have the innate telepathy ability, whereas adult mimics that were not born into the colony only have this ability if they are close to the colony. So, if somehow you as a player, right, are able to carry a juvenile mimic away from the colony, it can still read your mind and communicate telepathically with you, which is cool. The juvenile mimic also has a small bite attack that does 1 piercing damage and 1d4 acid damage. So once again, these are not really like big formidable monsters. They're more like nuisance monsters. Or if I suppose you are able to convince, cajole, or bully a mimic colony into giving up one of its young, it's a buddy monster for you. It's basically a familiar. Congratulations.
New pet.
New pet. That's right. That's right. New pet. Add it to the pile of pets.
Pile of voices your DM has to do now.
That's right. That's right. Now, if the mimic colony comes up against a hostile enemy that it thinks it can beat, then the mimics in the colony will use their combined strength to use lair actions. Now, lair actions in 5th edition are usually reserved for either very large creatures or for legendary creatures. In this case, this just happens to be kind of a crazy amalgamation creature, so it gets lair actions. For all monsters, lair actions can be used on initiative 20, so at the top of the initiative, but losing any ties or bonuses. And then, of course, they can use 1 lair action from a list of specialized abilities that are kind of tailor-made to each monster. Or, if they want to, I don't know why you'd want to do this, DMs, unless you're being nice, the monster can forego using lair actions that round.
Yeah.
Now, for the mimic colony, the possible lair actions that this thing can take are, number 1, the mimic colony chooses up to 3 creatures within 300 feet of it. Each target must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or have its speed reduced to 0 until initiative count 20 on the following round. As pieces of the environment come alive and grasp the target.
Oh, no.
Yes, if a target fails the save by 5 or more, it is restrained instead for the duration. Let me remind you, dear listener, that in 5th edition, a creature with the restrained condition cannot make attacks, cannot cast spells, and all attacks that are made against it are made with advantage. So,
Eek.
ability as hard as you can, dear listeners. Number 2, the mimic colony uses the help action, aiding a creature of its choice within 300 feet of it. This is basically free advantage for something that's part of the mimic colony that you want to attack one of the intruders. Number 3, the mimic colony chooses up to 3 creatures within 300 feet of it. Each target must succeed on a DC 15 dexterity saving throw or take 13, on average, 3d8, in rolling acid damage, as orifices appear on the surfaces in the environment and launch caustic spittle. Cue everybody getting spit on and getting hurt by it. Number 4.
Gross.
Yeah, disgusting. Number 4, the mimic colony chooses a cube of non-magical inanimate material in physical contact with it. The cube can be up to 15 feet on a side. The colony reshapes the material however it likes. This transformation lasts for 1 hour. Your colony can make a wall. It can make a door. It can make a scare person. It can do all kinds of things to help, hinder, lure in, or scare out your players. To your players, I say, use that 10-foot pole.
Don't piss off a colony of mimics.
Yes, which I have to say, a mimic colony, it's listed as a CR2 creature, but that is in addition to the rest of the creatures that it is in contact with. So, like, the colony exists, but also its individual parts are all mimics, which are also CR2 creatures. So
Yeah.
if you had 4 mimics as part of a colony, right, That's a CR8 plus 2 more. That's a CR10 encounter.
Good luck.
Yeah, just keep that in mind, TMs. Now, one last thing we want to mention about the Mimic Colony is just how sick the artwork is in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
Really cool.
Yeah, we have these like 2 cute little like cozy old women. They're sitting on their porch. They're drinking tea, right? They're talking, and they're looking out over a pasture full of cows. And oh, what's that? The teacups are mimics with teeth, eyes, and a tongue. Oh, I'm sorry. The potted plants are also mimics. The fucking chair is a mimic. Oh, I'm sorry. The whole God's damn porch is a mimic, complete with teeth and saliva? No, sir. Those women are not getting off that porch.
Or they're mimics themselves.
Which, if we're going along with 4th edition, yes.
It's just a sweet piece of art because it's just like everywhere you look is mimics.
Mhm.
It's like those like I Spy books, where you're you're trying to find just something that's not a mimic.
Yeah. What isn't a mimic? Oh, the paperclip? Oh, fuck! It has eyes and teeth and a tongue. What about that cow? Oh, God! Also a mimic. Oh, Jesus! Yeah. It's great. It's great.
It's great.
Well done.
Love it.
Well done, designers.
All right. Finally, moving on to 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very short and uh pretty consistent with previous lore description of the mimics.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, however, it does seem, now I may have missed something, but it does seem that 5.5 has taken a step back from mimics being sentient beings and have kind of reduced them down to their previous killer mimic persona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we'll show you in this quote. So quote, in their natural forms, mimics are little more than roaming stomachs, their blobby bodies covered with alien eyes and teeth, end quote. Um, and I know, like, we were talking about it before, and it seemed like you thought it was a pretty good description. And I do
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do like that description, but to get rid of the long held lore that mimics, could be negotiators if they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be, it doesn't even say it can speak a language, not even common, which is kind of
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, I like that as a descriptor, right? Like, oh, in its
Yeah.
true form, it's this, roaming stomach. And it can turn into other stuff, but then they took that to be like, no. Only stomach. No brain.
Yeah. No wizards.
No wizards. It's a common theme with 5.5.
Yeah, it's truly like dumbing down things, and maybe it's because 5.5 is just assuming that the 5e lore and are just updating the basics to the 5.5 mechanics.
True.
uh but I don't see that as the case, and I think they're just kind of smushing these monsters down to their most basic forms in order to fit it into that huge fucking book.
Yeah,
which is,
it's big, and I respect the designers for wanting to put so many creatures in there, but like also
yeah.
some things I feel like fell through the cracks. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, hopefully they kind of take the 4E route a little bit in
Mhm.
that, in future expansions there'll be more variants and more
Mhm.
stat blocks.
Yeah.
But for now, it's just kind of a roaming stomach with teeth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I will tell you what I do like about 5.5's mimics is the addition of a table of possible forms that a mimic might disguise itself as to wait for unsuspecting prey.
We do love a good table around this
Love good
podcast.
tables. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like honestly, that is what, you know, newer editions of D&D are missing are just all those tables. Like it just feels more organized.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, and the organization is just great. I'm like, I see a table. I use a table. Well done, designers. Thank you for bringing this back, and/or
Easy.
putting it in where it didn't exist before.
Yeah, exactly. And in this table, some of my favorite forms that mimics could be is a giant gemstone, an oversized cake, a throne, and a potted plant. Which, yeah, the oversized cake is just truly diabolical because I could see like a barbarian character definitely lean into that, like, oh, you guys remembered my birthday.
Yeah. Oh, forget barbarian Jade. I would fall for that cake. I'm like, I see free giant cake. I'm going to the cake.
Mm, yeah, I could really use some cake, to be honest.
Oh, who can't use cake, right? And that's why the mimic is a staple in Dungeon Meshi. It keeps eating the whatever the character's name. She's the wizard. Yeah, keeps falling for it.
Wait, are you talking about free run?
Yeah, Freerin. That's her name. That's her name. Yes.
Yeah. I
Yes.
actually have I have a figurine of free run in a mimic
Oh
right
my
now.
god. Oh my god. All right,
It's the
got
cutest.
folks. We're posting that.
I'll
Watch
I'll put
watch
that
our
on the Instagram.
yeah. Watch our socials. That's going up there.
Whenever we start posting on those.
Well, it's gonna be this week, Jade.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We willed it into existence just now.
We'll do it. We'll do it, and you'll see our lovely faces and our things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Do it, lady.
but do it, lady.
Do it, lady. All of it
uh, on your birthday.
on your birthday with a mimic.
But so, just to get back to the mimics, stat wise, I am convinced that the designers looked at the 5e stats and said, now this is great, almost perfect, even. But, what if we made it more deadly?
Okay.
uh,
Tell us
yeah,
more.
because the mimic stats are more or less identical to 5th edition, but with some notable and potentially lethal improvements.
Ooh. Okay.
Uh, yeah, first of all, their movement speed is increased from 15 feet to 20 feet. Uh, Presumably because the designers thought that the chest with teeth should be able to chase you slightly faster down the hallway.
Oh damn! It's like it's shuffling. Oh, you keep moving. It's coming.
They're moving.
Oh Lord, he coming.
And the mimic also retains its adhesive trait. It loses its grappler trait,
Okay.
but that doesn't really matter since it keeps the effects of the grappler trait as part of its attacks.
Oh.
Yeah, the mimic also loses its false appearance trait altogether, and I think this assumption here is that it's already hard to tell if an object is a mimic or not once it's shapeshifted.
Mm.
So I think the extra ability was kind of deemed unnecessary in the stat block.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a bit extra. So they're like, well, yeah, it's a mimic. It already knows how to shapeshift. We don't need this extra trait
Yeah.
there.
It's like it's already looks like a chest. What more do you need? What can you do? You get to poke it? Actually, poke it.
You touch it. You
Do
touch
it.
it, right?
You touch it, right?
Some other fun stuff is the buffs. So the pseudopod attack now does 1d8 acid damage in addition to the 1d8 plus 3 bludgeoning damage that it did in 5th edition.
Ooh, okay. All right. Little
Mhm.
dissolvey
Mhm.
smack. I like it.
And then the attack also grapples with a DC 13 any creature that is size large or smaller, with attempts to escape being made with disadvantage.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, again, combining that adhesive grappler, attack trait, making it a little more streamlined, which I really like, actually. I
Yeah.
think I think they did a good job in that part. I mean, with the stat blocks in general, I think they've done a really good job. It's just the lore
Yeah.
and like some of
Mhm.
the additions of poison damage.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but other than that, they've done a really good job with the stat blocks, I
No,
think.
I would agree. Like in the places where it makes sense, you're like, wow, this attack is really easy to understand. The
Hmm.
problem is like when it's incomprehensible as to how this thing does that thing. But
Yes.
we
Yeah.
talked about that in the Hill Giants episode. I don't want to
Oh,
rehash it.
made me so mad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ugh.
but let's talk about good things.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So good things. Good things.
another thing that gets buffed for the mimic is the um in this edition is the bite attack.
Mm-hmm.
So it still does the 1d8 plus 3 piercing damage plus 1d8 acid damage.
Okay.
But now comes with the possibility of extra damage.
Ooh,
hmm
okay.
So if the mimic makes its bite attack on a creature that it is grappling, it now does 2d8 plus 3 piercing damage and 1d8 acid damage. So
Okay.
just that extra d8 of piercing damage.
Yeah.
hmm And dear listener, you may be thinking to yourself, "Oh no, an extra d8, big deal." But it is my duty to remind you that the mimic is still a CR2 monster.
Oh, no.
Yep, which means that it will be dealing, on average, 16 points of damage in a single attack to level 2 players.
Ooh.
Yep. That means more than half the paladin's health is gone, the rogue's not doing well, and the wizard just became instant lunch,
Oh,
basically.
no. Those sweet babies, Jade.
Yeah. So it's good buffs for the mimic's stats, bad debuffs to the mimic's lore.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Much deadlier for lower level encounters, gives it a little bit more staying power for a nuisance that, your higher level adventurers will find
Mhm.
as they're traversing the dungeons. And there you have it, folks. A relative rarity in a system that incorporates such a wide variety of staples from fantasy, myth, and literature. The Mimic is a creature that is truly original to D&D. From its origins as a deadly shapeshifter, through spacefaring, house mimicking, and strangely doppelganger-esque variants, the Mimic's basic and effective design has withstood the test of time and has gone on to become an ambassador monster for the hobby. Its only flaw in its current iteration is its inability to speak to adventurers, but we assume you plucky DMs out there will take care of that at your own tables.
Just make sure the table doesn't start laughing as soon as you start putting things on it.
Oh, that tickles, it says ominously. And now that you have the image of a toothy, weirdly eyed talking table in your mind, I'd like for you to picture this. Once their halfling companion was confident that the path was free of traps, the adventurers carefully made their way towards the house. The single-story dwelling seemed innocent enough, at least from what Britomar could see. No sagging beams, no visible holes in the roof, no signs of damage from battle. A light plume of smoke rose from the chimney as a soft firelight glow danced in the windows. Britomar frowned. I think it's too non-threatening. Almost like it's expecting guests. She tightened her grip around the Empress's hilt. Exactly why we should exercise some caution, old girl, Sprezio said, placing a hand gently on her arm. I say we let the young lady Tumthimble take the lead. Britomar nodded in agreement. I'm right behind you, little sis. If anything tries to nab ya, they're dealing with me. A devilish grin spread across Trina's face as she scurried towards the front door of the house. She quickly flicked her wrist, producing a lockpick seemingly out of thin air. I always love that trick, Britomar said, giving Sprezio a playful nudge. The halfling placed her other hand on the door, which slowly creaked open. Oh, Trina said, surprised. Oh yeah, guess it's already open. Britomar's eyes narrowed. An invitation, huh? Tread carefully, my friends, Ukushaza said. Let us hope that this is not an invitation to become dinner. Our dear Sprezio was already almost the main course once today. Britomar peered through the open window, sword at the ready. Upon seeing the inside of the structure, she felt a mixture of surprise and disappointment. It was perfectly ordinary, just like the outside. A small fire crackled in the hearth, illuminating the single room with an orange glow. The room had simple furnishings: a few stuffed chairs facing the fire, a wooden kitchen table with 4 matching stools, an iron chandelier with unlit candles, and a very obviously dead potted plant. "Don't touch anything," Sprezio whispered. The adventurers stood still, scanning the room for any potential ambushes or traps. For a moment, the only sound was the occasional snap and pop from the fire. "Where's the bloody loot?" Britomar roared. Her companions jolted in surprise. Sprezio clamped a hand to his chest as he tried to catch his breath. "God's damn it, woman! Show some tact!" Britomar strode her way through the house, looking for any hint of coin, glittering treasure, or valuable find. She tore open a door at the end of the kitchen area. Empty. She stomped her way across the room, throwing open another door and entering a sparsely furnished bedroom. Also empty. Britomar ground her teeth. A low snarl rumbled from her throat as she became more and more frustrated. "Remember your breathing! Imagine you are in a tranquil forest," Ukushaza called. In a flurry, she began ripping out drawers and knocking closet doors off their hinges. "9 bloody hells!" Britomar spat. "The damn place is actually empty." "Oh, fish," Trina said, ducking as a handful of silverware flew past her head. "I guess I owe Sprezio a silver." "Hardly compensation for the wasted time and lost blood," the tiefling replied, massaging his temples. "But yes, I suppose we should take our leave from this God's forsaken place." "Oh no, you can all get nice and comfy. If we're not getting paid, then we might as well entertain ourselves," Britomar said, picking up a stool. "I'm smashing the rest of this place apart." Aiming the puny piece of furniture towards the fire, she felt her arm and shoulder muscles coil as she wound back, then release as she heaved. The stool, however, remained in her hand. Britomar paused for a second, raising a confused eyebrow. She attempted to hurl it again, yet the stool stubbornly stayed right where it was. "Wait a tick," Britomar said, pulling the stool towards her for a closer look. The grain of its wooden surface seemed to ripple as 5 purple eyes slowly opened. They blinked once, then affixed themselves upon her. "Maybe I shouldn't have." Britomar's words trailed off as she noticed the front door slowly close itself with a click. "I think it's time to leave." "Yeah!" She yowled in pain as jagged teeth sprouted from the stool and chomped into her hand. "Didn't I say not to touch anything?" Sprezio yelled as he twisted a finger in the air and shot a small jet of flame at the creature clamped onto Britomar's arm. It growled as it opened its unsettlingly wide purple mouth. For a moment, an image flashed through Britomar's mind. That Weasley punk in the dock ward. A knife in his hands, dripping with blood. Her blood. Britomar felt her pulse quicken. "Little pissant, you think you can bleed me?" she bellowed, grabbing the little monstrosity that had dared to bite her. As she started to pull, she could feel it sticking to her with some kind of slime. Whatever this thing was, it wanted to stay anchored right to her. Veins bulging, Britomar gritted her teeth, ripped it from her arm, and slammed it to the ground. She quickly drew the Empress and hacked into the creature with 2 heavy blows, sending sprays of thick, purple liquid across the floor. Trina darted from behind Britomar, deftly plunging her sword through the creature's center eye, then leapt back. It sputtered and gurgled, sending more violet droplets over Britomar's boots, then collapsed. Its long purple tongue hung limply out of the side of its mouth. "It would seem we've met another creature down here that would have liked to enjoy us for dinner. A mimic, I would wager," Ukushaza said, poking the corpse with the tip of his staff. "Thank goodness the threat is over and dealt with." The words had barely left his lips when sets of hideous purple tentacles sprouted from the floor and grabbed at the adventurers. Trina nimbly dodged away from their grasp, while a faint field of shimmering force around Sprezio seemed to keep them at bay. Ukushaza was not so lucky. Two tentacles grabbed him and slammed him to the ground. Wide, toothy maws opened on the table and remaining stools, which began slowly moving their way towards the turtle. "Oh, dear," he said. More tentacles shot towards Britomar, attempting to ensnare her legs. She bared her teeth and growled as she kicked them away. Britomar was trying to stay collected and in control, but the edges of her vision were fading more and more out of focus as her anger rose. She gritted her teeth as painful, familiar images flashed through her mind. The handsome young noble, pointing and laughing at her. Her mother's face, hiding her embarrassment behind that disarming smile. A high-pitched shriek met Britomar's ears, jolting her back to reality. She turned to see Trina, pinned to the ground by the chandelier, now sporting rows of snaggled teeth that were sunk into the halfling's back. Rivulets of scarlet dribbled to the floor. "Help me, big sis!" Britomar snapped. Her mind emptied. Her only feeling was pure, uncontrollable rage. Her only thoughts were of ripping apart that thing chewing on her friend. "Get the fuck away from her!" Britomar bellowed, swinging the Empress wildly as she charged forward. She felt some resistance to each of her hacking blows. Was it dead? She couldn't tell. She couldn't focus on anything else. Not until Trina was safe. "Use that anger, old girl," Sprezio said, as he lobbed a ball of throbbing energy towards the small herd of ferocious furniture. The table shuddered as it was seared by bolts of lightning, which wobbled and arced to the surrounding stools. Trina grunted as she pushed the now deflated chandelier off of her. She threw a knife past Britomar's head into a wall sconce that had leaned close to the hulking woman's ear. It sputtered, then fell to the floor, leaking the same purple liquid as the other pieces of devilish decor. The halfling smiled, then spat out a mouthful of blood. "Careful," she gasped. "I think there's more of these things than we realize." Ukushaza raised a hand towards the approaching table and stools. A ghostly white light shone down around them, wreathing them in spectral flame. As the flames grew, the furniture began to morph, wood grains turning into semi-translucent skin, and legs retracting into round, blobby bodies. Where before a partial dining room set once stood, there were now what looked like 4 large, partially see-through sacks with eyes and teeth. "I knew they were mimics," Ukushaza said triumphantly. His moment of satisfaction was cut short, as multiple sets of wicked teeth bit into his legs. The next few moments were a bit of a blur. Britomar was vaguely aware of chopping things apart. Wooden things? Nah, too soft. She could hear yelling. She felt the floor become slick with something. No matter. Her legs were strong and steady. She remembered picking Ukushaza up, then putting him down. More yelling. The smell of something burning? Oh, Sprezio. Lighting things on fire again. That silly man. Britomar regained her senses for a moment when she saw the door. Except, it wasn't a door. It was one of those things. It also had a wide purple mouth filled with wicked teeth, opening hungrily. Wait, was it smiling? Was that little shit mocking her? Britomar yelled as she charged forward, ramming the Empress into the door. The claymore sank to its hilt, but the hulking woman continued to push. She felt the hinges give, then the door broke away from the house. Her unbridled anger fueling her forward, Britomar ran from the house, the door still skewered by her blade. On and on she thundered, through the large room and into the hallway, not stopping until she smashed the mimic into a stone wall, which, to her surprise, crumbled on impact. Britomar slid her blade from the deceased shapeshifter. coughing as she tried to peer through the cloud of dust and debris she had kicked up. O'Kane's golden sash. What's this then? Inside the secret chamber was the treasury they had been searching for. A few dust-covered curio cabinets adorned the walls, flanked by open chests filled with coins and pieces of jewelry. But what drew Britamar's attention was in the center of the room. A single light shone from the ceiling, illuminating a small dais upon which was perched a masterfully crafted necklace. The ends of its dainty white gold chain came together to cradle an exquisitely cut purple centerstone that flew flecks of light in every direction. Now that's more like it, Britomar said, as she seized her prize. How dare you? A voice said, seemingly from all around her. Wind began rushing from the corners of the room to its center, where a swirling vortex began to form in front of Britomar. As it spun faster, a pair of burning red eyes blinked open in the vortex center. In an instant, the wind stopped. Floating in front of her was the transparent form of a scowling man, his translucent blue skin standing in contrast to his hateful red eyes. No one will ever know what became of you here. Oh, hells, Britomar said, as the form lunged towards her and her vision faded to black.
Thanks for joining us on Browsing the Bestiary. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes and check out our Patreon at Browsing the Bestiary, all one word. We've also added a link tree to our Patreon, so now you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
On Patreon, you can keep up to date on any new pod-related announcements, access reference pages for each episode, and download character sheets for characters featured in our story times. You can also comment on what you think the next monster will be, and if you get it right, you'll get inspiration.
And if you're something of a lore master yourself, you can offer us corrections for any facts we got wrong. If you catch something we missed, you may get a shout out in a future episode.
Remember to cite your sources.
And before we go, we'd like to shout out our patrons. Thank you to Carl, Holly, Megan, and Kethri for becoming members. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jayde.
And I'm Lore Master Andy.
May your dice rolls be high.
And your adventurers ever prepared.
Blah, 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 blah. I'm a table now. I'm a door now.